Cast.
They fight for their families. They fight for each other. They fight for this great university.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast.
When I needed you the most, you gave us your very best.
These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State.
Handle your business, man. Everything you got. 4 to 6 A to B, 9 strong.
Buckeye Cast.
Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast.
Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
A great Buckeye. 1, 2, 3, go die!
That is right, Buckeye Nation. Welcome into the Buckeye Cast. Take a seat, grab a beer, kick your feet up, but leave your shoes on, please. We are getting ready to beat the Nits. See you a little later, Nits. Right, Shawn? We're getting ready to beat some Nittany Lions.
I think so.
Yeah. First of all, though, as you all know, you should always subscribe, follow us, and look for the YouTube channel. We're trying to hype up some views there. But we're going to run through the Tulane game real quick and then dive into big fat meat pie of the Penn State game. And Shawn, this is a league game, Smoke.
This is a league game, Smokey?
Yes, this is a league game.
This might be the league game.
Yeah, it probably is. But then we'll obviously give you our microscopes. We'll flip those on and tell you who we're watching on offense and defense. We'll give you our final score predictions and up against the Vegas odds, see who's wrong and who's right. And to round it out, we'll either talk about the Big Ten East or the 4-game redshirt rule, which is causing some major uproars on some college campuses and some big-time programs across the country. So we'll see. We'll play a little Russian roulette with that last segment. But let's jump into this Tulane game. Big win by the Bucks. It was one of those games where everybody plays a half. 49-6 was the final in the shoe. Everybody got in. Dwayne, obviously the Dwayne Train is running hot and heavy. Went for 300, 5 touchdowns. Tater even got in there, 10 and 14 for 115. Got a little scamper for a touchdown to get the backdoor cover late in the game. It's always nice. Shawn, can I tell you what my favorite pass is that Dwayne throws?
What's that?
It is the back shoulder fade. It is
That's
money.
your favorite, huh?
It's fucking stone cold left pipe lock. He is guaranteed to hit. Doesn't matter who's catching it. Mack was the recipient of a nice one on the right sideline this week, and last week I think KJ had a nice one against TCU on the left sideline. But this play is indefensible. Thoughts?
Even if you were like Johnny Cochran, indefensible.
Yeah. Glove don't fit, you must have quit, and you can't defend this shit.
Well, I got to say, that's a little bit biased, Joe, because is there a ball Dwayne Haskins throws that isn't money? I mean, this dude is out of his mind.
Yeah.
I can't believe what he's doing. He doesn't ever seem rattled. I don't ever see a bad ball come out of his hand. They're always tight money spirals every single time.
Yeah.
They're on the money. I've never seen a quarterback hit so many guys in stride. He's having an amazing year. If he keeps this up, he's a lock for the Heisman. I don't know what that Tua's numbers are, but
yeah,
I guess if they're in this neighborhood, that's fine. But
yeah, Tua's the current favorite, but Haskins is second on the.
I saw that come out, and he's earning every penny of it, and he's doing this in halves.
Right,
I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
Outside of TCU, has he played a full game?
No, definitely not. There's been no reason to. 14 receivers with a catch in this game. The previous high was 10 a couple weeks ago. 14 guys. There's a couple guys in there I never even heard of. I thought one guy was dead.
Definitely not some scholarship guys.
No.
Some walk-ons catching some balls.
Yeah. This week it was the Parris Campbell show. He still makes every catch look creative. He makes the simple look difficult.
That first touchdown, I know you were shitting yourself.
Catching it on his bicep, and then the fade down the left sideline where he caught it pinned against his helmet was even scarier.
Right.
Like, dude, just fucking put it in the basket. Come on.
Got the yips.
Something, man. I don't know. And Herb last week said that his ball skills have improved. Yeah, you're right. He's not dropping them, at least.
That's right.
He's just pinning them against every body part he has and piece of equipment.
Hey, use what the good Lord gave you, Parris.
Yeah.
You go.
Right. Ben Vick got a score.
Yeah,
making me look good out of my microscope. Yeah, I think a DB fell down on that one. He was just wide ass open.
He was.
Yeah, all around. The tight ends did not get into the act though. These guys were MIA. Kind of must have been blocking. I'm sure.
Yeah, you didn't hear much from him.
I'm not sure Ruckert's even caught a pass this year. I've seen him out there, but I haven't seen him catch a ball. If he did, it was for.
I think he did just this last week, didn't he? On that list, I think Tate threw one to him, maybe.
He's on.
And there you go, wrong again.
Yep, he was in the game.
Can't get that everywhere, folks.
Yep. You should definitely use our predictions at the end of the show. Running game. Do you have any concerns about the running game? Not really. I know Weber left the game dinged, got rolled up on, but. What about Dobbins? He was pretty quiet this week.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought the running would have come a bit easier against the likes of Tulane. I don't know what was going on there, really. I didn't dissect it. Is the O-line not?
O-line was fine. Holes? Yeah.
Or maybe they were just selling out on the run. Like, hey, you know what? Buckeyes run for 300 on everybody and they beat everybody. So let's not let them run for 300 on us, and they didn't.
Yeah.
We just threw it all over them.
Well, the carries were down this week. J.K. only had 11. DeMario had 4. Teague had 6. Martell had 8. Weber had 6. So, it didn't really... Go ahead.
It concerns me that Weber's gimpy.
Yeah, Herb said that he is ready to go, though, this week.
Is he?
Yeah. He just had a press conference about 2 hours ago.
Good. We're going to need that. I like the two-headed monster back there. Fresh legs.
Yeah, you got to have the 1-2 punch. Running game was quiet. O-line, no major issues. Michael Jordan got the snaps at a proper height.
Yeah, I didn't notice that all game.
I think we're in good shape there. Switching over to the defense. This was a weird stat. I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate. I could have swore I seen... something different, but a reporter asked Herb on Monday if he was aware that no starting linebacker had a tackle in the game. Starting linebacker. So that means Werner, Borland, and Malik.
Is that who started? Browning didn't start?
Right. And I went, according to the ESPN stat chart, those guys do not show up on the defensive tackles. So that might be correct. Is that scary? Herb was dumbfounded. He didn't even know. He wasn't aware. He was like, I don't have an answer for that.
To me, that is scary. I saw Borland get sucked in and then stiff-armed. And
he did take one to the face.
I'm a little concerned about it. I don't know if he's not 100% and not the foreshadow, but
yeah,
that's going to be someone I'm going to be looking at this week.
Yeah, good call. How about Dante Booker in the second half? He was a man on fire all over the place. Where's this been?
I know. You see a bunch of these guys that wouldn't tell you out there making a couple plays too?
Yeah, he had a couple tackles. He had a TFL. But Dante with 4 tackles, all solo, and a sack, and 3 TFLs. Kid was like rejuvenated. Rose from the ashes, yeah. So, be interesting if to see if he earned some more playing time, like meaningful snaps. I realized that I don't know if Tulane had their second team in the second half. I kind of doubt it. But either way, he's out there flying around. Baron Browning had a sack and a big TFL. You see him hawk that quarterback down?
Yeah.
That was a
nice
play, man.
I was concerned that you throw those stats out, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but our ends didn't have any sacks either. Like, the sacks came late in the game, and that concerns me against Tulane. And I think going into that game, that guy, they might have been one of the most sacked teams. Now, how are Cooper and Chase Young not sacking this guy?
Yeah.
And I'd have to go back. Maybe there was a lot of pressure on him.
I don't know how accurate those quarterback hurry stats are. I'm skeptical, especially because it's on ESPN's site. But, yeah, you're right. Tyler Friday was the only end with a sack.
That concerns me.
Yeah, I agree. Borland had missed tackles. Baron Browning and Malik Harrison were out of position a few times. Baron Browning is still having trouble reading plays. I think you just need to cut him loose, tell him to think of nothing, just see ball, get ball. Keep it simple for him. You know, it seems like sometimes these guys are getting their heads are getting in the way of their athleticism and their ability or something. I don't know.
I would agree with that. I think they're not playing downhill. Everything's tentative. I don't know if that's a good thing. You know, it's probably a good thing in our pass defense where they're hanging back. Yeah. But teams are running on us. And that shouldn't be. We got the corner to man up, and we should not allow anybody to run on us.
Yeah. They did get an even 100 yards rushing. You know, nothing fantastic. They got 150 through the air. So, on the bright side, no big plays other than that one, like 30 or 40-yard throw that went over Okudah's head. He just didn't look back for the ball. But Chase did have a TFL, but that was it. He was pretty quiet. They might have been double teaming him.
Yeah, the TFL was when there was a fumble and the guy was on the ground and he came up and put his hands on him. That was his. Or no,
was it?
I think that was.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that was the play.
Nice.
Maybe that was a coup. I don't know. One of them got one of them 30.
Yeah, easy one. A couple concerns I have though are penalties again. We were good last week against TCU. I think we only had like a handful. This week we had 10 for 89 again. Like 2 weeks ago we had 10 or 11 penalties. So these are things we definitely have to shore up. We can't be giving good teams free yardage.
Agreed. And I mean you can afford that with Tulane.
And then
but not so much at night in Happy Valley.
No. Third down efficiency is another one. That's on the offense, 100%. 5 of 10. That's not good.
Well, you know, it's not good on paper, but I'd have to look and see what it was. Again, I think some of that might play into what you just mentioned with the penalties. You know, are we not converting 3rd and 3s, or are we not converting 3rd and 15s because we just got busted holding?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and check the tape on when these penalties occurred.
I just don't. I mean, Haskin completes damn near every pass. So why are we not converting on these 3rd downs?
Exactly.
Are they too far, or we're running the ball, or trying those?
Yeah, it's a good question, and sometimes team gets hit with a ton of penalties when you got a bunch of scrubs in the game, you know. But the one thing I've noticed from the starters on defense, we seem to get a lot of offsides calls. You notice that? Guys jumping the ball before it's snapped.
We get some. I don't think we get an excessive amount of those. Those are 5-yarders.
Yeah, it just seems like
they're at least showing aggressiveness. I like that.
Okay.
When you're jumping on the O-line, that shows me you're afraid.
Right.
You're not going to get back there in time. We're going to get beat. When you're jumping on the defensive side, you can't wait to get in there.
So yeah, those are areas we need to tighten up. Anything else from the Tulane game you want to cover? I'm anxious to get into this Penn State game.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it was over pretty quickly. The second half was frankly hard to watch.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot going on there. So yeah, onward and upward. Let's go.
All right.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
So Buckeyes roll into Happy Valley, Beaver Stadium, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Damn it, I have to watch ESPN this week. That sucks. Try to avoid that channel at all costs. So Buckeyes are 12-4 versus Penn State since 2002.
12-4.
Yeah.
Why are we going since? Oh, is that when they got in?
I don't know.
Why not 2000? It just seems random.
Either way, let me throw some more numbers at you that are you may deem arbitrary. Last 2 years combined score is 62-60 in favor of Penn State. Not real mind-blowing there. But this number blows me away. Last 2 years combined, the Buckeyes have 383 more yards on offense than Penn State. Mind blown or what? Yeah, 383 more yards, and it took us a fourth quarter of 3 scores to win last year. So
I know.
There's that. So we put up a lot of yards. We look like we should win every game, but it hasn't worked out that way on the scoreboard. This one stat that Vegas insiders really pay attention to is yards per play. They don't make all of their decisions just based on this stat, but this is a heavy factor when Vegas guys look at where they're going to put their money. This year so far, Ohio State has a 7.5 yards per play, and Penn State has a 7.1. So, edge.
They're betting the over.
Yeah, this week probably. So yeah, I would imagine, like any team that goes into a hostile environment, you want to take the crowd out of the game early, right?
You better.
Yeah. So on defense, let's look at the Buckeye offense against the Penn State defense first. Penn State is replacing 8 starters. Now, granted, some of these guys did play sparingly last year, but they weren't starters. So that has to be a significant piece to this, I would imagine. What do you think?
I think that'll be huge. I mean, you hear about all the stars that they lost on the offensive side of the football, but they lost a lot of dudes on the defensive side. So if that's where they're at, they might actually, the way they've been recruiting the last couple of years, though, they might have more talent on that defense, but it's probably just not as developed yet.
Yeah, I would say.
I think they got a lot of good athletes, good kids back there, but I don't see how that isn't a drop-off. I don't see how, teams like App State seem to have success with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're a whole different animal than that. And we haven't even played anybody. I guess TCU, we did, but played anybody like this for 4 quarters.
Right.
Let's see what we got.
This is a totally different team from TCU. So walk-ons apparently are playing significant snaps in the middle of the D-line. That's kind of frightening if you're looking at it from a Penn State point of view, yeah. And their back 7 is really young. So I don't really know much about the recruiting lately. I know that I think the safety, Cam Brown, he went to school with Haskins. Who else? We were well aware of Micah Parsons, but he's just a freshman. Haven't heard much about him. So I would say depth issues on defense, especially the D-line, seem to be a really important area of weakness.
Well, then that makes me feel good when we're running our hurry-up offense, as long as we can sustain drives.
Yeah.
Again, even if they can keep it close in the first half, they're going to get so worn down if they got no depth on that D line. That's where you start chunking it off.
Yeah. 10, 12,
8 yards
15.
at a time with Weber and Dobbins.
Yeah. And that's when we usually see in the third quarter the O-line kind of takes control of the game, right? I mean, against shit teams that we've played thus far, we take control in the first quarter, obviously. But against a team like a Penn State, you don't expect to jump out to a commanding, ball control offense first quarter.
I mean, it'd be nice to. It'd be nice to, as you said, just come out, and I'd love to run all over these guys. I'd like to run for 250 on them.
Oh, yeah. That'd be sweet.
Just set the tone. Let Haskins have 20 to 24 passes, somewhere in that range again.
Yeah.
Complete 65, 70% of those, and beat them by 3 scores.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I was looking at these on ESPN, looking at the comment section. These Penn State fans are nuts.
Oh, yeah? What are they saying?
Oh, they just got some nerve and think that Penn State is so good and they got all these guys.
Yeah, I'm not too intimidated by this team, honestly.
The one thing that scares me is usually the only reason we beat Penn State is because of JT Barrett.
Right.
And we've always had to go to him to win these games. And last year's it's freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm. That was his greatest quarter as a Buckeye. Hands down.
I would say. And the one before that's probably the last time he played at Penn State. Maybe at one of the Michigan State games that one year. But, yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll never forget that one.
So is it, if Haskins, first year starting, whiteout, that environment, if we screw up early like the Buckeyes have been known to do, dig yourself a little bit of a hole, does he got the chops to get out of it? The only evidence we kind of have of that is last year's Michigan game.
Right.
But he wasn't the one that dug the hole. So you just wonder how he'll take that environment.
Yeah. Yeah. My big thing is just to get into the quarterback, how they're going to defend us. They got to throw the kitchen sink at Haskins, right? I mean, you saw what TCU did. They came from all angles, up the gut, off the edges, everything to try and get home. What do you think? Is there any other way to defend Haskins? Do you sit back in coverage, like 7 or 8 out in coverage, and rush 3 or 4?
I actually think that's the better route to go, especially if you got some guys that might be able to put pressure on only bringing 3. I don't know if they got any of those dudes.
Yeah.
But it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But if you're saying that the D-line doesn't have any depth and the secondary is young.
Yeah. And we have a very senior wide receiver group.
Right, we got a nice wide receiver group. I think you're going to have to. I mean, you're not going to be able to man up on those guys. He's not going to be able to bring heat all the time.
Right. And what do? Just sit back and zone? I mean, we got KJ Hill, the zone breaker. He gets open on the regular across the middle and those drag routes and shit.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was looking at it from a bring heat every down kind of strategy because you need to get him like off his platform. Because if Haskins
the problem is if you get beat and you don't get there, then he's gonna peel off chunks on you and big touchdowns.
Right.
He'll find your guy that's single covered, throw a bullet to one of these guys in stride, and you get away from you pretty easy.
Yeah, especially if the first read is open. When he drops back, first guy's open, bing, 10, 15, who knows. So here's an interesting stat from CFB Film Room. So Haskins under pressure is what this stat is about. In 2018, he's been pressured 15% of the time. Okay, so
Haskins has?
Yes, and that's on obviously pass plays. So going back to 2017, quarterback JT Barrett was under pressure 25% of the time. Now, understanding we have a bigger sample size with 2017, obviously, different opponents slightly. So interesting there that teams have not brought a lot of heat yet. What do you think of that?
I'm trying to digest that.
Okay, take your time.
I don't know. Well, I don't know what that means to me. I guess in a vacuum it means nothing. Is that like the average that teams take? I feel like we only blitz 25% of the time, if that.
Well, it's not just blitzing, though. This is even if a D lineman, like an end, gets to the quarterback and provides pressure. This is just general pressure across the board. So,
I feel that's about right.
Okay. But to me, it seems like it's not working since Haskins is only being pressured 15% of the time and he's throwing for 300 to 400 every week. And nobody's... Maybe
our O-line's just doing that good a job.
Sure, I agree. That's definitely part of it. But interesting, I thought that stat was interesting anyways, to compare the pressures, and he seems to be handling it when he has been pressured.
The thing is, I also think that he sees the pressure earlier and isn't afraid to make a throw, where JT would hang on to that ball, where it might be considered pressure for JT, but Haskins would already thrown that ball.
Yeah. I think your offensive line comment's valid, too, because we remember a lot of breakdowns on the O-line last year. So, yeah, maybe the O-line has come together quickly this year and are providing better protection, along with the running backs and tight ends that are helping pass pro. But what do you think about the running game? I know we discussed it earlier when we talked about the Tulane game, but Weber's foot, Herb's quote tonight on Weber was, Mike Weber's ready to go. Brian Snead is still on the evaluation list. So that sounds very official. Don't know what that means. Sounds like somebody...
Health evaluation or personal evaluation? Or?
I imagine it sounds like an official in the university is evaluating him, maybe grades and attendance and things like that. Sounds like somebody important is evaluating him. Or maybe it's just Herb's evaluation list. Who the hell knows? But anyway, Dobbins, we need much better production out of him this week. I realized he only had 11 carries last week and was about a 5-yard average. But he's going to get the bulk of the workload, you have to assume, right?
I think it'll be a pretty even split.
Okay. So what are you thinking, like 15 each?
Unless Weber's a little more gimpy than Herb's letting on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I think it's going to depend. A lot of it will depend on what we're just talking about is protecting too, because I think Penn State will bring some heat. I do. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they'll pick their spots, and if they find something that's semi-working, they'll stick with that.
Maybe more of a run blitz kind of strategy.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
Because they can't let us establish, 5 yards to carry early on.
All right.
That'll shut that crowd up right now.
Yeah. Herb did have another bright spot of news this evening. He said that Demario McCall plays both running back and H-back, and he's, quote, going to be involved in the game plan, I think, quote. Left a little opening for himself there, but...
He said that?
Yeah, he said that tonight.
About Run DMC?
Yeah. That's the best news we've heard in weeks.
That's wonderful news. And did you see, if you look at the stats from last week's game, who had the best average per carry?
I did, yeah.
Mayer McCall.
Exactly.
The guy's electric. He just gets it done. I don't know if he can block to save his ass when he's got the ball.
Yeah, I don't know if I want him in there on a deep pass routes. So that's good news. Demario, part of the game plan.
But I've heard that for 2 years, man.
Well, he's saying it before a big game this time. So we'll see.
Which means he's definitely not fucking getting in.
Yeah, maybe he's just tweaking old Franklin over there and giving him something to think about.
Yeah.
He also had a comment, we're an offensive line driven program, and when we're on we win, and they have to be on. Confusing the way he said that, but obviously O-line goes as we go, or we go as the O-line goes, whatever. That seems pretty obvious. Thanks for that. How about receivers? You think, since the secondary is so young, that we touched on it earlier, you think they make mincemeat out of these young DBs?
Yes. The way I have no other evidence to convince me otherwise. All I see is Haskin throwing bullets to everybody every game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of the usual crossing routes and just more of what we've seen. I don't know. I think Haskins seemed pretty confident yesterday in his interviews. So
you're going to see those guys get some PIs. You know, they're going to get burnt.
Yeah. Haskins is fucking cool as a cucumber, though, man. Nothing phases that kid.
As much as the highlights, not that ball, man. It's just
yeah.
He's going to be. I'm calling it now. He's going to be a good NFL quarterback. Buckeyes ain't never had one of those.
Right, it's been forever. Parris Campbell had an interesting quote. He said that the receivers can see the ball clear as day against the backdrop of a whiteout in Penn State. So he said, quote, "So I appreciate the whiteout." Too bad they can't catch it for him. Anyway, jumping over to the defensive side of the ball, we touched on this. Did we touch on this? We probably talked about it offline. Bosa is out until December at least. That news did not come from Urban Meyer. That came from Bosa's family. So Herb probably wanted to play a little coy on that one and not just let the cat out of the bag. But the Bosa family wanted to release the story. So that could be a big problem.
Till December? I thought it was November.
No, that's why I said November.
Oh.
Right? Didn't I say November?
I thought you said December, but okay. Yeah, so where's that leave us? December. Or the end of, what do we got? 3 games left? That's when he's going to get looked at. They didn't even say he'd be back, right?
Right. Exactly. So you got to think best case scenario is bowl games or playoff games. Probably not the Michigan game and probably not the Big Ten championship.
What's the date of the Michigan game?
It's like the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving's a little earlier this year, like 23rd or 24th. 1 second, I will pull up my trusty calendar.
I mean, if they're looking at him November 1, that's only 6 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And I gotta imagine he probably heals freakishly fast. I don't know if it's an incision though, and now you're talking about a wound that needs to close and heal internally, which I don't care how strong you are, you just got to let that shit heal, right?
Yeah, and the most important part of the whole process is April, and that the NFL draft. So he's definitely. I understand. I'm totally with him if he does not want to play, and say he's not even 75% by November 1st, and he just wants to sit out the rest of the year, however far we go into the postseason. I get it. I have no problem with it. So yeah, the Michigan game.
Unless it's for if it is for a playoff game, maybe he'd come back. Outside of that, no way.
Yeah.
Would you just not play all year and
Right.
play a bowl game?
Sure.
Yeah,
it's an exhibition game, dude. I mean,
yeah.
What for? So, yeah, the Michigan game would be the 24th of November.
He probably would like to come back and whip that ass one more time.
Yeah. I don't think he's the kind of guy that just is looking out for number one. He wants to be out there with his brothers and all that, but eventually, at some point, you do have to look out for number one. So anyway,
yeah, I got no hard feelings about it.
Yeah.
Sucks he got hurt.
Yeah, against a garbage
he was
team.
He was probably going to get invited to New York for the freaking Heisman.
He might have been, yeah. And in a game where he really, I know he was a big factor, but I think we still could have won that game without him. I realize he scored a touchdown on the strip sack, but anyway, we can speculate on that all night. So, what do you think? How do you think Penn State on offense attacks our defense? You think it's more of Iowa/Oklahoma from last year, where they attack the middle of the field, where the linebackers seem to be afraid of? They seem to fear the middle of the field.
I think you will see a lot of Oklahoma-style game plan. They got a new capable running back.
Yeah.
Kid looks good.
Yeah.
To me, he's really the only one I'm not impressed with on that team, on that offense.
I agree.
Is that kid? I think he's
Miles Sanders,
a hell of a running back.
Yeah, put up 200 last week.
I think their O-line's solid. Their O-line's better, which
yeah, they're returning some vets there.
But I think they are. I think they're going to try to, they got McSorley, who's a Baker Mayfield wannabe.
Mm-hmm.
And I never liked Baker Mayfield, so I really don't like McSorley.
Yeah.
I don't think the kid's that good. I think he's a gamer. He's got that gamer, Doug Flutie, Baker Mayfield. I mean, I just don't think he has the skill that those guys got.
Oh, no. Baker Mayfield is way more accurate with his throws. He doesn't just
better arm.
Yeah, accuracy is the big difference. I know McSorley has some shake to him, and he can escape pressure, but you just have to contain him. And I think we're going to be spying him with a linebacker this week. But I think you have to force him to throw to beat you.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I think you got to sell out on the run.
Yeah.
Stop that kid, and. The thing is, I wish we had Nick Bosa applying that pressure.
This is a big game. Draymond needs to continue his hot hand. I mean, he's been killing it. And this Chase Young really needs to step up. And Cooper. I imagine those will be our... I forgot to look for the two deep. But I imagine Cooper's starting on the other side of Chase Young, right?
I think so, yeah. I think it's those two.
That makes sense.
Then who are you bringing in?
To rotate?
Jay-Sean Cornell.
Yeah. You got Tyler Friday. Let's look at the
what's his name out of Cleveland? Tyreek Smith?
Yeah.
Tyreek Smith's good.
Yeah, those two Tyler and Tyreek, they both had 29 and 28 snaps last week. Actually led the team on defensive ends. Young had 24, Cooper 24, Shawn had 21. Two dudes I never heard of coming in after that. Jesus. So yeah, going to be a rotation of 5 or 6, I would imagine. Tyler, Tyreek, Chase, Cooper, and Cornell.
Well, I hope somebody really establishes themselves. I thought Cooper or Young would at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been so.
Yeah.
I don't know what I expect. I just expect dominance out of that position right now. It's been so good lately that anything less is rare.
They have the best D-line coach in the country on our staff, so if anybody's going to develop these guys, it's going to be him, right?
Yeah, and we're getting, the best DNs.
Right. Yeah, we're not getting 2 and 3 stars at DN.
Yeah, when you put 3 of them in the NFL last year, you got
right.
You might have the number 1 pick this year.
So
the other 2 can't go yet. I guess
Right.
Cooper could go. He came in with Bosa.
Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, like we touched on, this game comes down to the linebackers and Billy Davis, in my opinion. Can the linebackers overcome mediocre coaching? They got to contain McSorley when he runs. I think maybe play more react, and get the ball. Malik, I think Werner said yesterday that he and Malik have been practicing as spies for McSorley this week. So look for that. Both are pretty freaky athletically. I'd imagine Werner's a little faster because he's smaller, but he's also whiter. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. It's he's tricky and he's so smug. We've had such good. The ends have finished them off in recent years. Bosa with the walk-off sack. Was it last year? Hubbard tackled Barkley and Sorley together.
Right. Yeah. So for the running game, McSorley averages 5.7 yards a carry. Miles Sanders averages 7 yards a carry. I think it was padded by that Illinois game. And then Chris Slade, I think his name is, averages 5.9. I haven't seen much of him at all. So
no, but I remember that name during a couple of recruiting cycles ago.
Right.
He was a big recruit. I think he was on our list.
Yeah, probably. Since we're recruiting a lot of the same areas. Yeah, they really don't have any receivers that are real issues. This Hamler kid is young, but he's fast. He seems to be the only one worth noting. So just looking at this game from a broad perspective, it seems to me there's still a significant talent gap, maybe even more than previous years. I mean, are you getting that kind of vibe? Especially with the loss, like you mentioned, the losses of Gesicki, Deshaun Hamilton, Barkley.
Well, I would agree that it appears that way because they did lose those huge names. But again, what really is making Penn State, I don't know how they've done it, kind of hats off to Franklin, even though I don't like the guy, to turn that around. If you look at the recruits that they've been getting in the past couple of years, there really are competition to get recruits. I mean, we're hitting that East Coast pretty hard, and you look at any of those kids coming out of Virginia, Maryland, wherever on that side, it's always us in Penn State, and they're getting a lot of those kids.
Right.
A lot of them, even looking at future classes, this kid's like, nope, he's from Pennsylvania, he's already 100%.
Right.
And he's a stud. So they're getting they're getting their fair share right now. And so maybe they don't have the developed superstars as of yet. And I feel like they're in a situation that the quarterback almost holds them back. But I don't think overall the talent gap is down. It's probably up overall. It just doesn't have as high a peaks.
Yeah. Well, some of the key guys that they lost were that Marcus Allen. He had 10 tackles against us last year. And I believe he's the one that had the block kick 2 years ago in 2016 in Happy Valley.
We're glad to see him go.
No shit. He's a Buckeye killer. That Jason Kabinda, I believe he was a linebacker. Remember him?
I remember that name.
Yeah, he was huge for them. He's gone. There's a few others that are gone. Farmer, I remember him making some plays. It's hard to tell because these cocksuckers don't have names on the back of their jerseys when you watch a game. So yeah, I think this is probably one of the bigger talent gaps between Ohio State and Penn State that we've seen in recent history.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
And that's why getting into our microscopes. Flip on your microscope, Shawn, and tell me who you got on offense.
On offense, I'm going with my man, Dwayne Haskins.
Ooh. Coming in hot.
Keeping my eye on him. Him coming in hot. This guy has amazed me. I was all Joe Burrow. Still love me some Joe Burrow, by the way.
Yeah.
But this kid and what he's done so far, to me now, this is the real challenge. TCU, okay, they lost again after they played us. Wasn't in their stadium. This is at Happy Valley. This is probably our toughest rival in the Big Ten over the last decade, maybe Michigan State, purely record-wise. And this is a huge game, huge environment. I'm watching Haskins. How do you handle it? And if he does what he's been doing, he should be the front runner for Heisman.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We'll see what Tua does this week, but yeah, Haskins is definitely putting the pressure on. Who do you have on defense?
Well, I was thinking I was going to go one of those ends because I feel like they got to get pressure on it, but I backed off that, and you talked me into my boy, Pete Werner.
Oh, okay.
If he's spying on McSorley, I've been less than enchanted with the linebacker play all year and safety, but I'm going with my boy Werner. I'd say really the whole linebacker group because they need to have a game. Okay. Time to have a freaking game.
Yeah, those are solid. Obviously, the all-star quarterback is always a good pick. On offense, I'm going to go J.K. I think we touched on it earlier, of course. The running game is going to be key. If that O-line starts owning Penn State's D-line, look for this to get out of hand quickly, and it'll be due to Dobbins and a little bit of Weber. I think it's going to be more of a 60-40 split, maybe 75-25 if Weber's still a little dinged. I doubt he's 100%. He was limping pretty good after getting rolled up on last week. So I think Dobbins is my guy on offense, and I look for him to get in the end zone at least twice. Flipping it over.
What do you think he's going to hit? Touchdowns and yardage.
Ooh, 2 touchdowns and probably $140 on the ground. I think third quarter is when we open it up and the O-line just starts leaning on them, and I think their D-line is just going to
35-yard scamper.
Yeah, those
TD, something like that.
Exactly, those 5 to 7 yard runs in the first half turn into big chunk yardage in the second half, for sure.
I like it.
Yeah, and you took Werner on defense?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take Borland because I need to see something in the middle. I imagine we'll be in a lot of 4-3. I don't know if they'll come in with 3 receivers very often, but I want to see Borland in there, making tackles, not getting out of place, and not missing tackles this week. So I'm going with those guys, and hopefully everybody else around him plays up to snuff. But he's the quarterback on defense and needs to get everybody in place. It's more than just tackling and running.
Yeah, that whole group. It's really a lot of pressure on them this week, I think.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
Let's jump into our predictions. Sure to go wrong. Buckeyes are favored still. This jumped out early last Sunday to a Buckeye lead, or a Buckeye favorite at -4.5. Now it's down to 3.5. It dropped like within an hour or two after being released, down to 3.5. So Buckeyes favored, and looking for a score fest here at 71 is the over/under. So there, Vegas is kind of looking at a 37-34 kind of game, something to that effect. Puff, give.
I know, right? Dying up here. 37-34. What's the over/under?
71. I was just guessing because the spread and the over/under kind of.
You got an early weather report there in
Oh no,
Happy Valley?
that's a good question. Let me.
I'd like to know what it's going to look like.
Old
be
Main.
perfect.
Let's see. Saturday, 7 o'clock. Looks like 61 and clear. None precipitation. And
Got no high winds.
4 mph.
Oh ho ho. Then
Spells death.
yeah, I was gonna go lower in my prediction.
Yeah.
I haven't done the math yet to see if I do it, but I got to bump this number up. I'm going 41-24. Buckeye.
Okay. So the under, Buckeyes roll easily. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going for a high-scoring affair. I think our defense is still going to get gashed. I think McSorley's going to run all over us and probably throw some big plays over the middle, a la Iowa and Oklahoma State last year.
Fucking Pryor and Went. Somebody fucking play back there.
No shit. So I'm going big score. I'm going like 49-38. Buckeyes roll, take the over. But it's a ball game until the fourth quarter.
I think they're due for a Michigan State type treatment last year.
Okay. I'll take
I
that
think we
too.
might just roll their asses.
I'd rather have an easy game against a tough opponent. I'm not sweating all night. So yeah, take those locks to the bank, right?
Yeah, they're gold.
Yeah.
Buckeyes in the under.
Like I always say, I'll have the bagels and locks.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah, so the Big Ten East, what do you got there? Obviously, we're going to decide. We're going to figure out a lot about the Big Ten East Saturday night.
Yes, this is, in my opinion, this is a play-in game for the playoffs. Yeah, I don't think that's overhyping it too much, am I?
Well, maybe. I think you could still get in losing this game, though. Potentially.
Yeah,
You'd be on the outside looking in, but...
You would not control your own destiny. Because you would need Penn State to lose twice. Which is, possible, but
I mean,
this is only week 5.
This is, like I said, I just hate this environment.
Yeah.
The preseason, I picked us to have one loss, and it was basically this or the Michigan State.
Yeah.
but I'm feeling good. The way we've looked so far, I am feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just, I don't see anybody that's going to have an answer for our offense yet.
Yeah. See, I think the Indiana game next week might be a trap game for us, depending on how this game goes. Unless we bust ass and lay it on them in the first half and get the hell out, injury free and without playing much in the second half. I think otherwise, if this is a ball game, like a knock 'em down, drag out fight, like I think it will be, then Indiana might be. That's in Columbus at least, but that's going to be a tough game to get up for.
Yeah, Indiana's been playing decent football. I think they just lost to Michigan State.
Right.
But Michigan State pulling out fake field goals and shit.
So Sparty. So Sparty of them. But yeah.
I still think they're kind of in trouble staying in the Big Ten East.
Sure.
They play Central Michigan this weekend. I got some buddies going to that.
Okay.
But they'll win that one and feel good about themselves until they play another Purdue or
Northwestern after that next week. And that's a noon game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's at Sparty, though. And then they got Penn State the week after that at Penn State. So then follow that up with at home against Michigan. So they're definitely losing one of those, I think.
If they don't get a lot better soon, they're going to lose two of those.
Yeah. Yeah, they could lose two of the three, Northwestern, Penn State, Michigan.
Yeah.
Definitely. Don't forget we're coming to their house later in November.
And we haven't lost in that house this century.
That's true.
I think the last time we lost there was in the 90s.
Probably, yeah.
It's the house that Tressel built, and Meyer lives there now.
Right. Yeah, he's paying rent. Yeah. Speaking of Michigan, Wolverines they smashed Nebraska, but who isn't smashing Nebraska nowadays?
I was hoping for better Nebraska. Very disappointed.
Yeah. Bitterly disappointed. This week they got at Northwestern, so Northwestern has two chances here in a row to put a hurting on the state of Michigan. I think Northwestern is a team. I think they're tough. They're kind of like a hardball team, really.
Who beat them?
They lost to Duke
good.
and Akron.
Yeah. That means they suck. They lost to fucking Akron.
They beat Purdue.
Yeah, they're about the same as Purdue. They can play you tough. I will agree with that statement.
All right.
But they are not as good as I thought they were going to be. I got their quarterback back. What's his?
Yeah, Thor.
Yeah.
What's his name? Thorson,
something like that.
Yeah, so they are 14-point dogs in their own house on this game. Yeah, over-under's 46.5, so they're calling for a low-scoring affair relatively. Michigan's been putting up some points on some dogs lately. So, but look at these total yards. Northwestern is averaging 424 yards of offense per game. But their defense has given up 380. Mostly through the air.
What's Michigan?
Michigan's putting up 420 on offense and then 240 on defense. But we all know their fucking schedule here has been the weakest of the week.
Except for Notre Dame.
Yeah. But Western Michigan, SMU, and then Nebraska, 3 in a row where they scored over 45. But I think Northwestern's going to put up a fight, is what I was trying to say. Even though they,
I hope so.
I think they're going to be pumped for this game. It's not often they get a big team coming into their place. I think it's going to be a ball game. They may not win, but I think I would take the points. 14 at home.
Yeah, Fitzgerald will have those boys are ready to play.
Yeah,
I would tend to agree with that. They've lost some. They're not that good, but they will be ready to play football.
Mm-hmm.
He will have them ready.
Yeah.
And then if they get blown out, then it's Northwestern being Northwestern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To go circle back to Penn State here, looking at their schedule going forward after tomorrow or after Saturday, they follow up with Michigan State in Happy Valley. So,
don't they got a bye week, don't they?
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, that Michigan State game probably won't be that tough. And then they go to Michigan first week of November, and then back home and host Wisconsin. So if we were to lose, there are a few opportunities there for them to get strung up twice. You know, probably not likely, but they do have Iowa coming in as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are a couple of opportunities for Penn State to get tripped up. Just don't know if it's going to happen.
And you could get tripped up by the Purdue's and Indianas of the world too. You got to play those guys too.
That's true. Yeah.
Not likely, but after you make your way through a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They think you can breathe, and then Purdue's got some linebacker that's hitting the shit out of you. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a little bit of a gauntlet here after their bye week. They go home against Michigan State, at Indiana, home against Iowa, then at Michigan, then home against Wisconsin. So, and they finish out with Rutgers and fucking Maryland. But, yeah, that's a tough 5-week stretch right there. 6, Ohio State, ending with Wisconsin. Everybody.
No, this is a huge game. I think we're looking like we're right now playoff bound, and Penn State could be the next victim that we just roll through.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
Zach Harrison might be going to the Penn State game as a guest of ours.
As a guest of ours?
I believe so. Thayer Mumford was talking about how he went there in 2016 as a guest of Ohio State.
Really?
Yeah. I just saw it pop up on Twitter a few minutes ago.
I didn't know that was even doable.
So
I wish he'd just jump on board.
Yeah. I think we're going to get this Sampson kid, receiver. I think we're going to get him on Friday. He's announcing. And I think Zach Harrison is just waiting for somebody else to jump on, because we've been in a bit of a drought here for like how many months, you know? I think Harrison is just kind of waiting for somebody else to take the plunge first.
Yeah, I hope it's we're still in for that stud tackle from West Virginia, right?
Yeah, this Wandale Robinson out of Kentucky is a stud too. He's been visiting all the big schools.
No, these.
I had the wrong guy. Jamison Williams. He was deciding 4-star receiver. He's deciding Friday.
Out of the Lou, right?
Yeah, Cardinal Ritter.
We get pull some kids out of St. Louis. Zeke.
Yeah, he kind of started that pipeline. I can't remember too many before him. Garrett Wilson is saying that Ohio State has big things coming. He says, "Be patient, Buckeye Nation. We're building up a special 2019 class. You have my word." Buckeyes currently have 14 commits for 2019. Haven't added anyone since late July. Got the Big Ten's 3rd best class. That's horseshit, dude. We're always first. We start out first and we finish first.
If we can just solve a couple of these guys, Harrison being number 1, and he's got to look at the situation and say, look, I got a chance to go play for Coach Meyer and Coach Johnson and possibly get a lot of playing time right away.
Yeah, Wilson here is giving a little inside info. He said Jameson and Elijah Higgins are the big ones that he's been talking to. He also talked to Trey Sanders. He thinks he's really interested, but calling him a long shot for sure. But still, he says they have a shot. Jordan Battle from St. Thomas Aquinas is setting up another visit. So that's a good sign.
Is he a safety?
Yes. They call him a DB, but I think he plays safety mostly. He's been to the Alabama, the Louisville game. He's also visiting Oklahoma.
It's pretty sweet when you're that good of a football player. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go see Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, just all the best games all year. I guess you can't go to those because they're on the same day, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Jordan Battle's dad said that Herb called and apologized, said that he was sorry that we had to go through the investigation. He says we are a little more confident now, but still have some questions to be asked, and we will wait to ask in person when we visit for a game. So, not sure what those questions might be, but at least they're coming up for a visit and still interested. That's always a good sign. He has 3 official visits left. His dad says that he wants to use them. He says that his son loves Ohio State, loves Taver Johnson. So it will take something serious to change his mind. So, sounds to me like he already has his mind made up. We do have a decommit from Florida State. Probably been watching their games and figured that was a good idea. This Renardo Green decommitted recently and is interested in Ohio State. He's going to take an official visit for the Michigan game. Those are the most recent guys of note.
I saw we added, I was just on 247 the other day and see some corners that are starting to pop up at least. I don't know if we'll get any of them. But it seems like the cornerbacks were super strong there for a while.
Yeah.
Getting Wade, Akuda, and Sheffield coming in all at the same time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even seem that there's a Wade or Akuda even in any of these classes.
Yeah, I haven't
ranked as high as those guys were.
I haven't seen much talk about DBs. Not lately, anyways, except Jordan Battle. That's right, Buckeye Nation. That's what's happening. Don't forget, take those locks to the bank. What do you think, Shawn? Easy money?
Easy money.
Hope you enjoyed
Buckeyes and blowout.
That's right. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget, dial us up, look us up, download us, hook us up, and we will talk to you all next week. We'll hit you with our extra points after the game and hope for a big Buckeye victory, right, Shawn?
Yeah, I turned down a Shooter Jennings concert to watch this game.
Oh, Jesus. Well, Henry, thank you for your wisdom and your wizardry. And
coming at you from a shithole somewhere in the Ontario region.
Taking one for the team. We love it. All right, folks. We will talk to you on the flip. Go Bucks.
Peace.
Later.